everybody, welcome to Country Girl. My name's Kat, and today we're going to talk about onions. It is it's January 15th, and this is the time to start onions in seeds inside the house. I usually use onion sets, but this year I decided to do the seeds. Now the difference between the onion set and the seeds are the seeds are planted in early spring and allowed to completely mature. Where your onion sets were actually seeds that were grown last summer, about midsummer they were put into the ground. And then when fall came, those little plants were pulled up out of the ground and put into storage and then sold to everybody in the spring to go out and plant the bulbs and for them to develop. And those little bulbs have had a lot of growing done already. So when you buy them, it's best to look for the smaller bulbs because these are the ones that have the most potential for growth. The larger ones have gotten a lot of their growing already done and are more likely to go to seed quicker. So you have the choice between whether you want to do seeds, whether you want to go sets, or whether you want to do a combination of both. And I think I'm going to do a combination of both this year. All right, there's different varieties of onions also. There's short day, intermittent, and long day. And this is all dependent upon how much daylight the onion takes to set up and form a bulb. The long day ones take between 14 and 16 hours of sunlight before they'll start forming their bulb. And they're usually planted in zones 6 and above in the colder weather. All onions are cold weather crops and they like cool seasons. The intermittent ones are ones that are good for zones 5 and 6 mainly. And then the short weather ones, short day ones, are for the southern plant time periods, and they only require 10 to 12 hours of sunlight. So what I am going to plant today are the long day varieties, and there's 3 different ways that you can plant your onions. You can plant them directly out into the garden early spring as soon as the ground can be worked, or you can plant them inside, or you can winter sow. So I'm going to do a little bit of each. So I've got my starting mix here, and what I usually do is add boiling water to it. This kills anything that happens to be in here, any fungus or any disease that happens to be in here. So you just wet it down and then let it cool a little bit before you stick your hands in it. Leave it moist, get all moist. It's gonna have to cool. Old spoons come in handy. Okay, what you do is once this gets, you fill up your little trays with the soil. Fill them about 3/4 of the way full. They don't have to be all the way to the top. Pack it down just a little bit, not heavy. By the time I get all these filled, this will be cool enough that I can actually plant the seeds. Well, that's cooling. We're going to go to the next step, which is onion seeds like to be a little bit soaked for just a little bit before you plant them. I'm not planting the whole package, just doing a few, so we'll let those soak. These soak for about 15 minutes. So I will continue to fill this up while those are soaking. And I'll see you again when I get this done. Now the reason I said only to film about 3/4 of the way full is because onions really do not make a deep root. They make a very shallow root. So they don't need a whole bunch of soil in the bottom. The key to this is to keep them moist but not soaked. They do not like to dry out completely. Now this is for my indoor sowing ones, and they will be placed on a heating mat, and they will only receive 10 hours of grow light per day, not this 14 to 16 that you would use for the other type of veggies that you start inside. So what you do is just drop a seed and I find that usually a matchstick stick, but I don't have a matchstick with me. You can either pour off the water, or you can just go and give them, and just put a couple of seeds in each one, and then when you're done, let me pour the water off. They're a lot easier to get with the water poured off, which is why I do it in here and not outside. It's a lot less messy. Put 2 seeds into each, and they will work a lot better if your hands are dry and not covered with mud or dirt. Okay, much easier. Put 2 in each one. And then I'll do this row here, and we'll show you what we're going to do next. Then you get 2 in, and then very lightly cover them with a little dirt like that. Do the whole tray, put them underneath on the heating mat and underneath the light for, like I said, 10 hours a day. Now for the winter sow, I use a clam thing that fruit comes into. Make sure it has drainage hose in the bottom, ventilation hose in the top. I like to put paper down, that way it keeps the dirt from going out through the hose. Just put about a couple inches of, well, fill it to the top of dirt of your mixing soil. Some of these have very shallow roots, so you don't really need a bunch of dirt. I would like a little bit more, just a hair more. In case you're wondering, this is my craft kitchen. These are not my cooking utensils or things. These are for crafts and for gardening. I like being able to do it where I have access to water and everything. Okay, just level that out. These seeds do not have to be soaked because they're not going to germinate right away. You can make little rows if you want. If you're so inclined to be nice and neat, they don't have to be far apart. And you just plant them about every ½ inch apart. I'm just going to do one row here, and then I'll tell you what to do. Then you close the lid. I've written on the top that these are onions, the type of onions they are, and the date 1/15/2021 on the top. And then I covered that with Scotch tape because this is going to go outside in a shady area, and it's going to be exposed to the sun and the weather. It's going to be shady, but it's still going to get some sun. And when the temperature is right for these to start popping up, they will start growing naturally. They will not need to be hardened off because they are already outside. And you just transplant them into your garden when you need them. You don't have to worry about grow lights. You don't have to worry about heating mats. It's just nature takes its course and does what it's supposed to do out there. And don't worry if you get them too close together, because you will be transplanting these out into the main garden. So even if they're real close together, you can separate them and put them out. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you come back and see me again. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and when you subscribe, it doesn't cost anything. It just says that you're interested in what I'm doing and you like to see more of them. And remember, dream big and follow that dream. Bye.